All right, so I'm gonna just try diving right in, um, so I don't lose that much focus. But so basically, right now, I'm thinking about what it means when I say to myself that I want to do something that matters. Like, that's pretty broad. So, what exactly does that mean? Can I break it down further? And I think I've I don't I've got at least 50% of an answer. At least. I feel like I have more, but I'm not gonna worry about the fucking percentage. Um so the first part of what I believe would be meaningful is something that um has a decent amount of impact. So if it's impactful, it feels more important and meaningful. But I felt like that there was another component to it, which, but it's a good start, impact. Um, but I think I also have an answer for the other part where it seems to be skill or work, and work is kind of like, if you think the scientific form of work, which I believe is force over time, because I'm mostly thinking of like Digimon story, Cyber Sleuth, a game that I've casually played recently. I haven't completed it, but it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag for me, but for some reason, because of it, I wanted to make my own Digimon mechanic game, I guess. But I was thinking about like what matters uh to me in the game or something, and like what impact what impacts my sense of, what matters to me in the game, and like what I enjoy is the raising Digimon, and just completing the Digipedia, because I want to, uncover what all of the Digimon are. And doing that by, raising Digimon, like completing tasks for them to, like, getting them to certain stats so that they can digivolve into whatever I'm trying to digivolve them into. And that's a good source of dopamine. They get, and I mean, Digivolution is kind of impactful. Their whole appearance changes, they get stronger, and now there's like a list of other people they can fucking transform into. But so this is kind of a minor detail, but I was thinking about, like, there's a couple Digimon where where basically the requirements, like one of the requirements to get them, is to complete that hacker's story, which is a whole story. Like, I hadn't completed the main one yet, so just like the reason why this impacts my enjoyment of the like Digimon system is because I can de-digivolve, like digivolve backwards, and there's like some minor benefits that helps in certain situations, but if I do that to like like I see a Digimon that has like a blank slot, and it's pretty early, and it's like, you know, and it's like evolution stage hierarchy. So I digivolve down to that, and then turns out, oh, I need to complete hacker's story first before I can unlock them. So it's like, well, shit. But like, because that I guess because that information isn't present or whatever, that it gives me the impression that there's I'm trying to think things through enough to where I can explain it in a way that makes sense to like me or some other person that doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I guess it's an action that I believe that I can do, maybe, but then it's thwarted. And like, so I guess how does that impact like whether it matters to me? Maybe I'm jumping the gun, but it's really hard for me to like think about all the pieces all at once to, you know, make sure I'm on the right track, and explaining things in order. That's important for, you know, understanding and clarity. But there are several reasons why that bothers me. It's not really like a grand thing, but looking at the smaller thing would probably help me understand a bit about like what I'm trying to, you know, understand about myself. And so when it comes to completing the Digipedia or whatever, I get excited because I think I can potentially, you know, unlock another Digimon or unlock another entry and explore that Digimon, whatever. And in the rookie stage, they don't really need much, but there is an impact to not being able to unlock it, but that impact is different from normal because it could just be like, you know, I have to raise a stat up and I don't have enough to be able to accomplish that. But maybe with another Digimon, through another Digimon line, I can eventually get there. Or just I have to train this Digimon up first, and then with like the like points already added into their stats, I go down and then I like automatically have the stats I need later. But like it's not like the requirement isn't for me to train, the requirement is for me to beat another game mode that is probably going to take several hours, maybe several dozen hours to complete. And it's like, wow, just to unlock this rookie. And you know, I was also thinking about it, but like it kind of makes sense where, you know, if that Digimon is exclusive to Hacker's mission or whatever, Hacker's story, then it makes sense to have it locked in the main story, I guess. But if it was communicated better, or if I had that information beforehand, because there's only one way to know the requirements for Digivolution, and that's through a menu where you're actively seeing if you can or cannot Digivolve a specific Digimon. But the requirements are all the same every time, so why do I not have that Digivolving requirement information in the fucking Digipedia itself? I could just, when I see that, you know, oh, a certain a certain Digimon has like an empty slot in the Digipedia, I could hover over it and see the requirements and be like, oh, okay, so I shouldn't de-Digivolve to that person, or, you know, because I've already have their available stuff unlocked. And maybe there's another solution where they could have just like they're like each Digimon had like they don't have the same amount. Like there's some that can only Digivolve into 3 different Digimon, some can Digivolve into 6 different, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like it could have, like, it would have been better to just kind of hide it, to hide the fact that there's another Digimon that I could get if I beat the other story. Because if the Digipedia was just, or if like just clear information would prevent me from making mistakes, even if they're kind of like low ones, because like, oh, well, now I'm going to have to get this Digimon up some levels so I can Digivolve them into something else, I guess. But yeah, so like skill or work over time to get that one unlocked. And until I do that, it's going to be slightly annoying. Like, I have to remember which Digimon have those branches that I need to complete Hacker Story for. And I can slowly do that. I know that Gabumon has one. Karamon has one. So yeah, it has an impact on my enjoyment because, well, it's a little bit obvious, but I want to be able to understand the mechanisms a bit better, which would be how does skill or work over time impacts meaning or even impact. And again, like that, the Hacker Story, that will take a long time and maybe a lot of effort, maybe not as much, but doing something for a long time for a little impact sounds kind of, yeah, but also it sounds like a end game thing, like you have to literally beat a different story mode. You have to beat that end game to get this in this story. So I'd appreciate if it was treated like end game content. But again, if that information was available, it wouldn't really be a fucking problem. If that information was available before I decide to digivolve down, it wouldn't be a fucking issue. It wouldn't have fucking impact as much. But yeah, so I guess that's basically the extent of what I've thought through so far. And I'm thinking of like pausing the recording and coming back after I've thought things through a little bit more so that there's I guess less dead air with just me thinking and not knowing what to say. But yeah, this is what I'm exploring right now. I'll come back when I have thought things through a little bit more and I have like one or two more points that I wanted to I have prepared to explain. So I'm going to try to do that, and hopefully I remember the flow, I guess, like where I stop so that, like, you know, things are in order and coherent, easy to understandable without me like missing things because I forgot where I fucking left off when I paused. Anyway, I'm trying this, so maybe be back in a little bit. All right, so I have a few more thoughts. So to explain skill over time and impact, actually really simple examples like work or, you know, a job, like doing something for money. If you do, well, I mean, the amount of effort in the time frame matters, but like thinking like working for 8 hours and only getting paid $10. That's obviously abysmal, but that's like a long time for a small small amount of money that would make a small impact. But let's say you work for 1 hour and make like $800. That is a significant a higher thing of impact, obviously. And but there is a kind of nuance because I mean this probably does also involves like how it would be for jobs themselves, because like how am I supposed to frame this? When it comes to the impact kind of changes, I guess. Like I haven't thought this through, but like what I have thought of is like if I could snap my fingers and get $100 each time, then I can just rapid fire and you know, money is not an issue anymore. So basically the effort to get money is not as impactful, I guess. Versus if it took like like what I'm trying to get at is like an hour of doing something easy versus an hour of doing something hard or of decent skill. How does that impact meaning exactly? Because like skill, like I definitely struggle with like incompetence. So if I feel like something takes a lot of skill that I don't have, or that it's very difficult for me to do, even if like I feel like there's like effort, effort versus impact. Basically, what it is. And sometimes we can enjoy the work we do, we can enjoy the effort because I'm trying to think of how to say things without it being, complicated for myself, because I want to say that like the effort has an impact, but I don't want to use that terminology because we're already using it for like something else. But like, what I mean is with nuance is like there can be things that we're good at that we don't exactly enjoy, and there are things that we aren't exactly good at, but we can still enjoy them. And so, I don't want to have like an incomplete model in my brain of how meaning works for me, for like what's meaningful. Because I'm trying to think some other examples, because like what I want is to do something that's meaningful to me that I will follow through with. Usually like some kind of project, maybe video game making project. And I just lost my train of thought. Like I was thinking about like my projects or my game making ideas, and like there's a Mad Lib game where I made a prototype that works. It's messy. It's very messy, and limited, but it works. And when I was making it, like I knew that I had the skills to pull it off, and so it felt while I was making it, it felt like more or less every session that I made this game, this it's more of just like a program, but how I felt while making it is that like I was able to follow through with it because it felt like the stuff I was doing each time I didn't run into any roadblocks, more or less. Or I guess brick walls, to be precise. I didn't feel like stuck. I felt like I could, it's all in my skill range, everything that I had to do. And I was making decent progress over time. And so, like, each time that I worked on it, I made a little bit of progress that had a decent enough impact to motivate me to continue working on it, which, you know, is great. And then after I finished, you know, the prototype and stuff, I wanted to like remake it, basically make it again, but format it better and add better features and stuff, and make it a little bit neater, make it a little bit more optimal, and not so much of a pain in the ass, I guess. Though it wasn't much of a pain in the ass, but I didn't exactly want to do that. Like, because I don't remember exactly because it's been a good while, but I guess how it was impact is like what the effects of it were is that working on it seemed like I was retreading ground. And so it felt like I wasn't making an impact. I guess it wasn't as meaningful because it's hard for me because I don't exactly remember how I was doing things. Or like what changes I was actually making. Because if it was just, I guess it bogged things down because it was kind of like a smaller and more noticeable, well, I don't know if noticeable is the right word, but it might have been a small kind of like hacker story thing where it felt like I had to like it'd take like not if some of the time was that I worked on it was just retreading old ground to make this new version, an updated version. Then it kind of felt like it lost its impact, I guess. It felt like it didn't matter as much because the game wasn't progressing exactly, like the project wasn't progressing, or the impact of these like quality of life changes just weren't that meaningful to me. even though they would have an impact overall for like the experience, it didn't really like feel like it mattered as much. So was I using same mouse skills? Maybe. But I don't know, it kind of seems like it wasn't novel enough. But like I want to say it's like skill based because sometimes there's like a thrill to a challenge, but at the same time, like it sucks when, you know, there's no progress being made on the challenge. I'm trying to think of like times where I have had like bugs in different projects or like brick walls of trying to make something and like something's going wrong. I have no clue what's happening. But like the skills themselves have some kind of impact is what I'm thinking, because, you know, if I haven't done something before, but I think I have the skills to pull it off, and then I do it, that's meaningful. If I've done something before, I know I've done it before, and the skills I use, like, if I use the same skills, it kind of like diminishes. It's not as impactful, I guess. Now I feel like I gotta break down what impact is, but it becomes dull, I guess. And I think that what happens with the, you know, snap your fingers to get $100 thing is that it gets dull when there's barely any skill involved to get something that's like supposed to be impactful. So it feels like there's a delicate balance between you know, skill, time, and the impact of you know, using those skills over time. And I know that with some of my game ideas and projects, I've been discouraged because even if I believe that I would have what it takes to make most of it, to get to the thing that I actually want to work on or explore, the amount of time it would take and the amount of effort, and to get to that place where I have the one game mechanic that I want to, you know, explore that would have an impact, it's it discourages me because it takes too long to get to the thing that I want, I guess. There's also an impact I had in my mind, but I just lost it. Games. What was I just talking about? Impact of having mechanics. Okay, all right, right. So like, okay, so there's one game mechanic where like I want to explore like characters, I guess. Like there's a Lewd game called Artificial Academy or Artificial Academy 2, you know, sequel, where you can create different characters. They have like a character creator and lots of options, create your character. And there are different personalities. But the thing is that like, you can give each character a personality, and, well, you have to in order for the character to work in the game, but each personality has a voice and specific dialogue. And you can also give them different traits, which some traits do different things, and from those different things come different dialogues. But each time that happens, it's just one or two dialogues that can happen. That is written specifically for that personality. So basically, if you go up to a character in game and ask a question like, I don't know, can I hug you? They're going to always have the same response for if they say yes or if they say no. And even though it's kind of limiting in that aspect, because you can, like, you know, see the character and stuff, and I still get a sense that like I'm interacting with the character even if the dialogue is limited. And but yeah, it's something similar to that, or at least that's one of my like brainstorming ideas of inspirations, where it's like, because I want to be able to like make characters and I guess talk with them, or at least have them interact in interesting ways. But I feel like dialogue is a great way to, you know, explore a character. And it's hard not knowing like what should I have like default, if I should even have like default sayings and shit, and then what personalities or whatever like changes the dialogue. but I don't even have an idea of how to set up the dialogue system that I'd want. But the reason why is to go back. That's why I wanted to like explore is like characters and stuff. But and I could try just making a prototype game where it's just exploring that mechanic. And there's merit to that, but at the same time, this is what discourages me. It might just be, you know, me ruining my own happiness and shit. But what's the impact of that? Like I've thought recently like how would it matter? You know, because if it's not in an actual game format to where the dialogue system or something like impacts the game, I guess. Like there's actual like progression or something, then it's like, why would I go through the effort of making a prototype for this mechanic if this mechanic isn't in, you know, an actual game? But maybe I'm just like blue balling myself or something. I guess to get down to the core is that what I really want is to start, you know, making characters and saving them, and for the dialogue and stuff to have an impact somewhere. Where because like I want the characters themselves to have some kind of meaningful impact on whatever world or game or whatever they're in, whatever, to where the characters somehow impact the progress. I don't know. But how I currently see is like with a prototype where it's just the dialogue system, it's like not even saving the characters. It's like, why did I make this? Like that's how I imagine it. It's like I get to the end and like, hey, I have this prototype now that I could maybe implement in some other game, but it's like, why did I make this if this dialogue system, like I can make some characters that where they can be like unique and interesting, and the dialogue is fire, I guess, with how dynamic it can be with the settings or something. But if it's not actually in a game where like the dialogue matters, like if I guess it's the snapping thing, you know? Snap and get $100, where it's like the meaning behind it is kind of disappears. Because that's kind of how I feel like, where it's like, if there's no like, well, it's not a one-to-one comparison, but if there's no like permanence, I guess it's keen to saying like choices in video games, you know? If if choices don't change, how do I say this? Like I assume people know what the fuck I'm talking about with this. But if I guess if shit, what'd be a good example? I guess if like you have to choose between two characters and one stays with you in the party and the other one is like lost or something, then you feel the impact based on what the lost character adds or provides to the party. And you've lost that now until you get them back. And that impact, you feel that impact over time, but like if you like get the character back 5 minutes later, then it doesn't feel all that, you know, it doesn't feel like it matters that much. Because it's not, you know, changed over time or whatever. But like if there's a change at all, then that means that character mattered. Though it can be nuanced because some changes like aren't cared about, I guess. But I don't know. I guess in the meta sense, what I'm trying to say is that like if I make a prototype and I can make characters and good and the dialogue systems work great, I still don't have like characters. I still don't have characters that, you know, stay with me and change over adventure or whatever. And so the impact of doing all that work to get this, you know, dialogue system working, even if like rewarding in the sense that like, wow, we created something incredible, it's like it's still not really what I want. Like it's steps, but because what I want is, you know, characters that I care about and being able to interact with them in a way that lasts over time. And so it feels more impactful, I guess, is the best way to do it, to say it, where I don't know. It's for the working the working thought experiment thing where it's like working an hour for $800 versus working 8 hours for $10, where it's like getting the money is a one-time thing, but like, you know, the work lasts amount of time, and it's like it's like man, I'm trying to think what it actually means. Like, how do I make this easier to understand for myself? Is it like I get $100? I I don't know, but like time has an impact on impact and meaning, I guess. So yeah, I don't think I'm at a good place to be able to explain that yet, but at least while talking things through, though, things aren't all that bad. Like, I mean, even if it's weird. Meaning is kind of weird. It changes and shit. And it's weird because I guess my perceived enjoyment of something can be altered from my perspective, because while talking about the character dialogue prototype idea, I'm thinking more that it can be something that I can enjoy doing, even if you know, I don't make a complete game. Which encourages me to actually want to do it, but for some reason thinking that, like, earlier I was so convinced that like it wouldn't be worth the effort because it wouldn't have that much of an impact on my life or something, because it's not like it's in an actual game that I can make characters that can actually characters that have impact on an actual game, I guess. Because the characters themselves do not have impact because they're not like an actual game where, like, Artificial Academy, there's like relationships or something, your favorability with characters can change and shit based on what happens. But yeah, I guess I have I don't know, it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag, but at least with this video, I was able to talk about what's on my mind, because I'm just trying to figure out how to best or how to be more happy and like want to do things, you know? But I can it feels hard because it's hard for me to keep track of multiple things at once, and life is multiple things at once. So like I'm thinking about like stuff like that, like what to make like a video game, and like that's not taking into account my physical health, because my physical health does impact my skills, my energy, my fucking mood, to where it makes it even harder to do even basic shit that I would want to do. So, but yeah. So I guess this will be the end of this one. I don't know if I'll upload it or not, because my videos tend to not have that much of an impact. But I at least wanted to record my thoughts and revelations, because for them to hopefully impact me a bit better, because I'm actually sitting down to record them, and maybe I can revisit them or something later. But yeah, so that's all for this one, and take care.